Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. This video is to bring you an overview summary of the Ives 8400 series kick plates, or what they call protection plates. But this is a kick plate, and this happens to be in an 8x40 size and a 32D finish. I've got that held vertically. The grain would not be vertical naturally on a kick plate. It would be, I mean, it's horizontal typically, okay? But can't really show you that pulled back protective paper that plastic that I've pulled back over that to reveal the 32D finish. But that's what it looks like in stainless steel, okay? And from Ives, they generally will come wrapped like this, with this shrink wrap sort of scenario. That's the modern, well, I don't know how modern it is. I think they've been packaged this way for a very long time, at least my memory tells me, for several years. So this video will also talk about the kick plate, or the plates in general from Ives. And the standard way is for you to get the included screws for fastening. They look like they're probably a 6x1 oval head sheet metal screw is what they look like, okay? To go into these partially countersunk holes. The material is so thin that you don't have a full countersinking type of process that's done. But you can see that there's a small amount of countersink that's been done there, okay? So yes, the screw will be somewhat, the screw will certainly not be flush with the face of the stainless. Now, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up the full line catalog, but actually there's a link below this video to a document called Product Brochure, which is the tear sheet out of the catalog for the Ives 8400 series protection plates. Okay. Now, the data below this video will talk about the overview sense of the plate, and let's talk about those generalities. Number one, an 8400 is 50 thousandths of an inch thick. If you put a caliper on it, it's 0.050 thick. That's the standard thickness. You can get them thinner if you go out of your way to get a thinner plate, and the reasoning for that would be just economic, I think, is why you would want a thinner one. You can also do thicker ones, and that thickness is generally 0.125, significantly thicker, significantly more noticeably thicker. You'll tell that it's much thicker. You'll be able to determine that very easily. Why you would want that? High abuse, high use, something that you need to last, something that you need to have last a very long time and take a lot of use. But the 8400 is specifically 0.050. This is the 32D stainless steel. That means the base material is stainless, and that the finish is a number 4 brushed finish on there. Beveled options are standard on plates, is what you're going to get as an option with Ives. Now the standard is to not have a beveled 4 option detail. The standard will, and it will be practically impossible to notice it on the camera, but there's really not a bevel that's on the edge of that plate. It's not so sharp that you'll hurt yourself cutting, sliding your finger on it, but at the same time you would dissuade that activity. It's not razor sharp, but a B4E, which means beveled 4 edge, is an option that you must specify to have a noticeable broken or beveled edge on the plate. That's very typical, and while a kick plate probably isn't so important to have 4 beveled edges because you're not really going to come into any contact with it, if you had a different style plate, like maybe a stretcher plate, you might want beveled edges because a stretcher plate is meant to be mounted up higher on the door, where its potential for contact is very much real. So let's go back and we'll talk about the different plates. If you need bevel 4 edges, reach out to us. We'll be sure to get that handled for you. Mounting screw pack furnished is standard. There are 16 screws per pack. You'll have enough fasteners to do your plate. You can do optional screw packs as either a Tech screw, okay, if you want a self-drilling point. These are sheet metal screws. Or a Torx head screw is possible as well. Tech screws are beloved by some people, not so much by others. I don't prefer to use them because I don't think I get an accurate pre-drill on my hole when I'm trying to hold that that drill tipped sort of screw. Torque screws, obviously, if your application is a nursing home or a hospital, an asylum type application, you will or a detention application, you certainly want security type screws involved. You can specify no mounting holes if you did not want any holes in it at all. You can do no mounting holes with an adhesive backed tape. Okay, so you can take it literally and just peel the tape off, the paper off, the tape, and place it onto the door. You can do that as well. CS is countersunk mounting holes, where you will get a deeper than standard countersunk hole so that that screw will be flush. And then you can specify ERS with an extra row of screws. So if you had a, let's say you had a kick plate, let's say you had an armor plate, where your armor plate was, say, 24 tall and then the width of the door, you might want another row of screws in there to prevent any sort of unintentional bellying to the plate, or to keep that plate a bit stiffer down to the face of the door. Not uncommon, not very common, I should say. I don't see that often. Kickplate gasket tape, which is recommended on a brass on a metal door to reduce tarnishing from electrolytic oxidation. One tape pack will cover the perimeters of an 8x34. You can order gasket tape, is what they're saying there. You're going to have brass onto steel. Disparate metals can corrode because they're just in the presence of each other. And in the atmosphere, you'll have moisture, obviously, present. Now, an 8400 is your standard series protection plate. You can do an 8402, which will give you a UL label on the plate. And technically, if you've got a fire-rated door, all of the components need to be fire-rated as well. You can very easily have an application that calls for a UL certification stamp right on the plate itself. In that link to the product brochure, there's a table that will show you the quantity of screws based on the size, should you need to order specialty fasteners, Tech or Torx screws. Below that is a table of the available finishes. 4 base materials. Brass, you're going to get polished brass, satin bronze, oil rub bronze, satin nickel, polished chrome, and satin chrome. Polished chrome, I don't like that as a finish on a kick plate because it's a plated finish, and any contact will ultimately perhaps produce an undesirable look because you're breaking the plating off. When it's polished like that, it'll be obvious. You might consider the second base material, which is stainless steel, which you can do a satin finish on, or a polished. The third base material is going to be aluminum, of course, where you can get it in a clear anodized finish. Then the fourth base material is plastic, where you can do clear or black, they offer. The second page of the product brochure is going to give you the definition for the 4 types of protection plates. Mop plates, from 4 to 6 inch tall, then whatever the width is. Exactly what it sounds like. You're in a hospital, you're on the cleaning crew of the hospital, you're mopping the floor, and you're hitting the door with the mop. Mop plate is for that purpose. If you're going to do a kick plate, that's going to run from 8 inch tall up to 24 inch tall. Can give you a kick plate, as defined by Ives. Down at the bottom of the door, it's installed from 8 to 24 inch. When you get above 24 inch to 48 inch, that will become a armor plate. A large plate of steel that's attached to the bottom of the door, generally from the bottom of the door up to the lock line or panic device line. Applications for that. A taller kick plate will be if you need something taller. 12 inch, common. 16 inch, sure, sometimes. If you've got like exit doors on a theater, a movie theater. You've got the main entrance and you've got the exits out to the sides. Those doors can have larger plates. They're going to get hit. They're going to take abuse. Armor plates, dock loading doors, like let's say a hotel. And you've got the pair of doors where the deliveries are being brought in, service door, contractors come through, cleaning crews, the whole 9 yards. They're taking out garbage. Armor plates, very common. You don't want to be taking the dumpster of 200 pounds worth of soiled linens out through the door. You know you're just going to hit it with the cart. Armor plates are very common. You don't want the door to take that abuse. And then the fourth one is a stretcher plate. That is going to be like a 6 to 8 inch tall plate that will mount generally in the area on the door, where if you were in a hospital, and that's where you're going to see these, or coming with a stretcher, and you're going to hit the door itself to get it to open, That's what a stretcher plate is for. So you can see that there are lots of instances where plates are used when you're making contact with the door. 50 thousandths of an inch thick like this, very common. You can make an easy argument for the thicker model, the 125 thousandths model as well, which is not, I'm noticing now, is not offered by Ives. Rest assured, we can help you with plates that are 0.125 thick regardless of the base material. The reference to the 1/8 of an inch is the clear or black plastic base material that's down below. That material, clear plastic, you'll see on doors where the owner, the architect, doesn't want to call attention to the door. You might have anagray wood veneer doors and you need kick plates, but you don't want to throw a piece of architectural metal on there. You want the wood to show through, so maybe a clear kick plate would be appropriate for that. I'll see them on movie theater doors as well, where they're just trying to disguise the hardware as best as possible. There might be a theme, a paint theme on the door, but to apply a clear kick plate will allow a consistency of what the look is that's painted on the doors. At least the movie theater by my house has that. That's pretty much it. Ives is a name synonymous with trim and auxiliary hardware. They're going to do an excellent job with that material. There is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Ives products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. If you're looking at trim and auxiliary hardware, you probably already know the name Ives, or at least you'll experience industry-wide level of acceptance with the name itself. It's been a name for decades. However, insider's tip would be, if you're looking for door pivots, center hung, offset, take a good look at Ives. Why? Great quality, great value and price. The installation instructions, well, that's it. That's all I have to do. Immediately when you look at it, it's not like trying to decipher the codes to the space shuttle, the blueprints to the lunar module. It's more approachable the way that they've put it together, and having looked at everyone's technical sheet or drawing or template or installation instructions for pivots, Ives is by far the most approachable from someone's perspective that has never installed pivots in the past. Other notable items by Ives, I'm going to just stick with, it's all good. There's no question about that. It's all extremely acceptable, but the pivots are the ones that stick in my mind. If you have any questions on the Ives 8400 series protection plates, and in this case a kick plate or any other Ives product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.